I don't want to sound too confident about this, but I reckon this is going to be a new norm for me. Finish each session that I do with a set of 50 or something along those lines, a set of 30, set of 40, something more than, I want to say, 20 reps. I want to say a set of 50 because, a set of 50 is going to call for a lot of weight. If I start doing a set of 20, then all of a sudden I'll have to have gaps, days off from that, because a set of 20 would probably call for something like 140 kilos or something like that, and that's a lot of weight, man. That's gonna kick my ass. So 100 kilos for set of 30, 60s for set of 50. So I'm pretty confident right now to say that I could probably do this every day. You guys will see the footage again. So I did 60 kilos for another set of 50. This time around I had a different approach. I basically did 10 reps, basically did 5 sets of 10 in one set. Basically like that. So I would do 10, take the breaths in, do 10, take the breaths in, do 10, and so on. I would just do it that way. Instead of waiting for that oxygen debt to hit me all at once, around that 20 to 30 range, I would stop at 10, get the oxygen in, kind of almost going to some sort of a surplus of oxygen. I don't know if you can call it that. Just kind of hyperventilate a little bit, just really kind of suck in the oxygen and then carry through. Because I think these sets are obviously as much as cardio as anything else, right? It's oxygen starvation. But like I said in the comments in the last few days, I really think the true magic behind these breathing sets, breathing squats, is the fact that you are under a weight for an extended period of time. One of you guys actually said, really, really well. One of you guys said it basically hits every muscle, rib cage, all those intricate little muscles that are involved in your posture, they get hit. If you think about it, like, is there any other circumstance in your life where you are under a load like this for a 2 to 3 minute period? I don't think there is. So if you read Super Squats by, I always forget his name, Randall Strawson or something like that. In there, they talk about how back in the day, the bodybuilders were obsessed about expanding their rib cage, doing the whole vacuum thing and having a big rib cage. I don't know if I believe any of that, but that was the thinking. And this is kind of where this thing was born, that having the weight on your back and being forced to breathe under such a constrained environment, with the weight on your back and, lactic acid everywhere burning, everything's burning. They thought that it was to expand the chest. And they thought expanding the chest was a aesthetic thing. A bigger chest meant, I guess, wider shoulders. I don't really understand the whole bodybuilding side of things. But in that book, they also say that people generally get really, really, really strong doing breathing squats. Now, obviously, I'm not following that protocol because they were, doing sets of 20. And then having linear periodization where you are increasing the weight by a smidget every single time you come in, and you come in 3 days a week. Everything else is basically, you're maintaining all the other stuff. There's a few other exercises that you do, but you're not supposed to be doing heavy deadlifting, heavy bench pressing, nothing really to exhaust you. So most of your recovery points are being spent on that one set of 20, which is brutal. And I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but Milliken squats or the 20 rep squat program, it is brutal. Super squats program, it is brutal. But if you listen to people like Tom Platz or even like Rich Piana, one of you guys, kind of quoted him, what he said, screw the 600-pound squat. Rich said, put good 2 plates on the bar and do a set of 30. It's much more productive. Now, I understand these people are from the bodybuilding world, but I think there is a lot to learn from bodybuilders. I'm somebody, you guys know where I stand in terms of my goals, but I think bodybuilders have something to teach all of us. All of the, let's say, subspecialties of barbell training or of strength sports or whatever sports in general. I think bodybuilding has a lot to teach us in the sense that I think, let's just say it like this. I think bodybuilding, let me say that again. I think powerlifting is essentially bodybuilding with specialization in 3 lifts. That's what I really think is happening here. So pure bodybuilding is about aesthetics. It's about symmetry. It's about proportions, all of that kind of stuff. That's what bodybuilding is, pure aesthetics, hypertrophy training. Powerlifting, if you listen to one podcast from what Louis used to say about Westside Barbell and any really successful powerlifter, they talk about a lot of their training is based around hypertrophy as well. Build a muscle, get it specialized. Build a muscle, get it specialized. And this specialization is basically strength blocks and peaking blocks. So you basically spend a lot of time building that muscle, and then you go through stages where you are teaching yourself how to brace and how to exert maximum force in a coordinated manner in a squat, bench, and deadlift. That's what this thing is. But to think to yourself that a power lifter should just basically spend most of their time in that strength phase, strength block, like year round, where you're handling weights between 70, 85% or even higher, right? I think it's a non-productive way. And I'll tell you, I've got nothing to hide here. You guys know everything that I've done is on YouTube. Like you guys can look everything up. Every stage, every 100 days is there. The first part I was like, yeah, cool, no worries. I was gonna do specificity, really, really high specificity, high intensity. Let's see how that goes. It went all right for about a month or two, maybe something like that. And then I started seeing diminishing returns. I now think to myself, but this is the thing, hindsight is always 20/20. If I had a different approach and I just went in, I'm going to come in every single day, instead of hitting a training max, I'd come in and I'll spend a whole bunch of time with 50% of my 1 rep max, right? And just, auto-regulate the volume I can achieve every single day and go from there. Obviously, what I would also think, is you can hit a training max, but you don't have to live in that period, like in that, range where you say you hit 180 and then you back down to 170 and you do like a whole bunch of doubles or triples. That's just a miserable life, man. It's a miserable life because it's a whole lot of heavy work, and you're going to walk out of that gym feeling a certain way, which I've described. It's not the same way as I feel right now after doing a set of 50. It's like flesh, man. At the end of the day, we're just a whole bunch of flesh. What I didn't appreciate until several periods sprinkled throughout this 900-day journey is that these light reps, like lightweight, they actually, for me at least, translate to strength. Now, for whatever reason that is, and I know I've kind of been swayed by the general understanding of, powerlifting and strength training. All the strong guys never do anything above 5 reps, blah, 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 all that stuff. I've heard it all before. But for me, it seems to be proving the opposite. The counter argument to all of this is that set of 20, 30, 40, and 50s immediately transfer to strength. Like immediately. I'm not talking about, no worries, do a set of 50 and then spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months tapering that thing down to the single rep over those periods. So you go from 50 to 30 to 20 to 10, 5, 3s, 2s, and singles, and then you can, no. I'm talking about concurrently. I think these two things can concurrently live together. Super high reps and super high weight. So exactly what I did today. So work up to 180, which is a comfortable head training max. Not really a max, but it's a heavy weight for me. Hit that, come back down, do a set of 50, and I'm generally feeling stronger, better. My lower back feels stronger, my core feels stronger. All those postural muscles feel stronger. My quads are getting a lot of blood. My tendons are feeling healthier. I'm practicing the hell out of that range of motion. My mobility's, getting better. Like, it's just pluses everywhere. And if you include that sport-specific thing, which is your 1 rep, set, where you're actually practicing the sport, then you're kind of taking both the best of both worlds, right? And especially if you're doing it every single day, right? You're getting, let's say if I do this every single day, I'm getting 7 singles at 180 per week. If you're training twice a week or once a week, 7, that's a lot of volume, man, in that really, really high range. So I think this is very doable for me every single day. As in, the auto regulation of that top single might vary, but I think I can knock out 50 reps even at 4:30 in the morning, on a sluggish, cold, crappy, underslept day. I really think I could hit 50. It's not too heavy of a weight to kind of beat me up, and it's heavy enough to really get the breathing going and get a pump going. So I think I've got a recipe here, and then I'm thinking, I don't know, it's all auto regulation. I'll see how I go. I don't want to sound like I'm gonna conquer the world overnight, but maybe once a week I can play around with like a set of 20, something like that. Still do my single training max and then come down and maybe do a set of 20 of something. I reckon I could get 140 for a 20, especially if I do 4 sets of 5. Do you know what I mean? Like if I do it that way. So do 5, breathe, do 5, breathe, do 5, breathe, do 5. That's my 20. That's doable. But I'm very, very aware that that type of work, that has a different, curve on the graph. Because that is a lot of tension, and with tension comes a lot of pain and damage. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So that's that part. Another thing that happened today, I don't know, it's already been, but another thing that happened today is that I, for the first time, have done a full snatch with the bar. You guys would have seen it on the screen already. So I pretended like there was some weight on the bar. So, I kind of positioned myself like there was, a couple of greens on the bar, and I kind of snatched it the best I could. I think I did sets of 5 with that. So I'm able to now go through the snatching motion and also dip underneath it and kind of catch the bar. So I think finally I've kind of gotten around to, go from, I don't know how many days, it's the second week really of Olympic weightlifting kind of training. I'm coming around to kind of put all these different motions together. I think that snatch balance exercise was really, really good for me, because it basically taught me what it felt like to get underneath the bar, actually catch it. The bar kind of goes weightless for a little bit, and then it allows you to go into that squat position, and then you kind of catch the bar. Obviously, there's no weight on the bar, right? So it's, I'm starting with absolute zero here. But I think I'm feeling kind of confident. I'm kind of feeling I'm somewhat resembling what this thing is supposed to be like. Initially when I first grabbed the bar, I was like, oh my Lord, like I'm so far, I can't even do the damn thing. It's like walking on the basketball court for the first time, grabbing that ball and just airball after airball after airball from the free throw line. It's like, man, can I just please hit the ring? I would really like to hit the ring, so I at least feel like I'm playing basketball, because right now it just seems like I'm throwing it into the ocean. I can't hit anything, can't hit the backboard. That's kind of how I felt in the first 2 weeks, because just overhead position, I can't overhead squat. I'm really, really uncomfortable in those positions. I don't know how to jump and catch the bar. I don't know anything. But there's these exercises that I've kind of been doing, and it's kind of broken the movement down, which is very, very complex. The snatch, man, I never had an appreciation how actually difficult this thing is. Like, it looks pretty cool. And until that day last week that I started it, just played around with it, I was like, oh my Lord. Like, how can this be so difficult to have the bar overhead like that in a snatch position? Why do I feel like complete awkward central? Why do I feel like a dork doing this? Which kind of increased the appeal to me on that day, because I was like, wow, this is like, you hear all these things being said. This is, highly skill dependent sport, but you never really kind of appreciate it until you try it. And once you've tried, you're like, whoa, man, I've got a long way to go just to even snatch the bar, which is crazy stuff. But now I feel like I can snatch the bar. It kind of looks somewhat all right. Still, I don't look like anything like the pros or people who actually know what they're doing. But it feels like I could maybe put a little bit of weight on and kind of muscle it up in such a way or whatever. But still, I ain't doing that for a few more weeks at least. I'll continue to practice the snatching with just the barbell. I want to get to a stage eventually where I can have enough mobility in the shoulder and enough kind of proprioception, if you will, of my limbs, of the barbell, so I can dump it behind. Once I learn how to dump the bar behind me, and I actually feel comfortable within my shoulders to do that, then I'll be ready to put some weight on the bar. Because right now, like, you know, the bar as it sits at the top, I feel like I'm hitting the end range of motion. So if, for example, I snatch that thing up and I go down to catch it, and I overcook it, and the bar travels backwards, I'm really afraid of what happens next, right? I know some of you guys have been telling me just practice dumping the bar like overhead. I know how to dump fronts and back squats and all that, but because the bar is above my head, number one, I mean, I could get freaking guillotined. The bar could come crashing down. The bar could also do weird things to my shoulders. I think I need to have more range of motion in my shoulders, so I can do the whole, you know, that whole shoulder dislocation kind of exercise, so I can kind of completely lower it down that way. Not lower it, control it, but control it on the way down kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to be, you know, working the snatch with my absolute limit of range of motion. I got to have some sort of threshold there that if I overcook it, I don't go to Snap City. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So feeding into that, you know, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I do? Like, for instance, today I did the squats, did everything, and I did the squats, and then I was like, okay, I really want to do something for the upper body. Bench press went through my mind, but ultimately I went to overhead pressing because I just want to develop some sort of confidence overhead. Basically, that's the whole thing. I'm not trying to hit a 1 rep max or anything like this or an overhead press. I just literally want to spend some time with some weight overhead and start to kind of develop these structures in the shoulder girdle, the traps, teres minor, major, like all these muscles which are kind of involved in the rotator cuff stability and whatnot. And the more I spend with my hands above my head, the better it is. That's exactly what I feel like. So today I loaded it up a little bit more. I went to 60 kilos. I did sets of 5 here. I did 2 sets of 5, and that was plenty. That was really, really plenty. Once again, the bar's behind my head, which is something that's new to me. So my max for this is 80 kilos, you know, when it's in the front rack position. So I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between front and back. I don't know, some of you guys that do overhead pressing, if you actually have done front and back and what sort of drop in strength is there. Because I feel like when the bar's behind your back, there is absolutely no pec involvement at all. It becomes more traps then. I'm not sure how all that works, but I've seen Klokov do crazy stuff, you know, behind the head and whatever. I've seen people, I mean, I don't know what his max in the press is and whatever, but these people are aliens anyway. So that's kind of what the plan is. So every single day I'm going to try and come in and do some sort of snatching, snatch, balance, all that kind of stuff, and then go into my squats, deadlift, squat, and then every other day maybe do this sort of stuff to get comfortable in the shoulders. So see how Olympic weightlifting has you worried about every single joint in the body. You know, I'm thinking about ankle mobility. I'm thinking about my hips. I'm thinking about my shoulders. I'm thinking about technique. Thinking about all these different things just to freaking snatch the bar. So right now, the goal of all of my training is basically to hit that 180 on the front squat. That's really what I'm going for. And I really, really want to hit a 260 on the deadlift. So let's see if these high rep squats, back squats, can get me both of those goals at once. Because in the past, I've had success with just freaking squatting a lot of reps. Appreciate all of you guys on the list and comments and DMs. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.